Hey, happy Friday, FreightWaves fans and friends and neighbors, ladies and gentlemen. Great to have you here on another episode where we have not one but two market experts in the house for you. One is none other than Nick Austin, chief meteorologist, telling us what to watch out for, not only today, but kind of thinking towards the weekend, since we only come to you live every single business day, but not on the weekends, of course. And also, we're visited by our associate editor, John Paul Hampstead. He goes by JP of What the Truck fame. He also, he wears the pants of an analyst from time to time. And so it's great to have him on board, and we can't wait till how he's going to wrap up the week that we've been seeing here towards the end of January. So without further ado, let us take it away. Nick Austin, how's it going, man?
Hey, good morning, Chad. We've got more lake effect snow. That's right. It's
okay. Little polar vortex action? Or,
well, there's that too.
Okay.
But here's the thing: the polar vortex doesn't actually make snow. It does bring, but it does bring cold air.
There's so many things
it's
about
a
this
myth.
mysterious polar vortex.
But folks in the what we call the UP or the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, that's these areas right here. And then the northern part of Lower Michigan, the main part of Michigan, that's where there'll be a lot of lake effect snow today and tonight, and even off and on through the weekend with a lot of wind, so blowing snow as well.
Really disruptive in this region.
Very disruptive.
Continuing to be. Right?
And if you look up in that region across, especially Lower Michigan, in the Grand Rapids market, the Saginaw market, outbound volumes have been going up a bit lately in the last week or so, as well as here in the Green Bay market. So there's going to be a little more truck traffic coming out of those markets. Some of that may be heading up to the UP of Michigan to make deliveries, but overall, just getting out of those markets, there might be a little more traffic, and there will be delays because the wind and the snow are just going to slow things down. So
one of the things you were talking about, the polar vortex, I keep coming back to that. You were talking about that yesterday, and one of the silver bullets they say for trucks is just the cold, right?
Yes.
How do you how do you prepare for that? What are some of the issues that could be happening for the trucks?
Well, there's issues with the trucks and the drivers. First, just the drivers have to dress warmly. I mean, like everybody else in cold weather, you dress in layers, hat, gloves, all that kind of stuff, because any exposed skin with the way temperatures are going to be way below zero for today and tonight, and even in the weekend. The wind chills will be anywhere from about 20 to 40 degrees below zero, so you can get frostbite really quickly. As far as the trucks,
right,
we're talking about fuel gelling if there's not enough winter additive in their diesel. And they should be doing that every time they fuel up. They should be putting that in. So you get fuel gelling. Brake systems could fail because the brakes could actually freeze and crack. And that's something that I've learned recently, that's a problem. And there can also be a problem with aging batteries, just not being able to crank up, especially in trucks that are parked overnight for a long time.
And apparently too, it's dangerous to shovel snow or do too much activity out in the cold.
Absolutely.
That you're at an increased risk for a heart attack.
That's right. So it's kind of like extreme heat, extreme cold too. You don't want to be outside overexerting yourself or getting stuck outdoors.
Wow. Well,
so
other than that, what could go wrong? Yes.
Be careful.
Be careful out there. Thanks for the safety tips and the national weather look, Nick Austin. All right. Without further ado, now let's bring in our associate editor, John Paul. What's happening, man?
Hey, man. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about volumes in the major freight markets across the country. And what we've got pulled up here is OTVI for Chicago, Atlanta, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Dallas, and LA.
Some of the main hubs.
And what we've noticed the past week is that volumes have really started slipping off. They kind of bounced a little bit today, but look at where these markets peaked year to date. So the national market peaked about January 8th, Chicago the 11th, Harrisburg the 18th, LA the 16th, but they've really come down significantly. I mean, Chicago's volumes are down 12% from its peak year to date. And so I've been talking to brokers this week about, how they're dealing with, sort of drying out volumes. I mean, earlier in the year, it seemed like January was rebounding quite nicely, and we were up to levels, comparable to November and December. But now the volume's falling, and they were in their happy place, right? They had plenty of volume coming in. They had plenty of trucks, so covering loads wasn't a problem, and they were making good top line revenue and good margins. But now that volume is really deteriorating, it's kind of exposing some of the brokers who were more heavily in the spot market.
So one thing you said year to date. Do you mean just up to this year? You don't mean year over year data?
No, I mean so far what has been the peak in 2019, and we're already falling off that.
And so yes, right, because we did actually, volumes did go up, and they seemed to be healthy for a couple of weeks,
right?
And but now we've seen the slight degradation.
Yeah. And so I talked to 3 different brokerages yesterday. 2 of them were smaller shops that actually actively pursue a lot of contract business, and one of them was a large publicly traded brokerage in Chicago with a heavy exposure to spot. And the 2 smaller guys said that they're actually not really experiencing this volume drop off. They said that they worked really hard last year taking care of their customers. They were eating losers to make sure that they were moving their customers' freight. And now that it's bid season again, their customers said, hey, you did so great on our account last year. We're going to give you more freight this year.
What do you mean eating losers?
So in brokerage slang, a winner is a load that you make positive margins on. A loser is a load that you lose money on.
And so they were accepting those losses and continuing to work with those clients?
I talked to Matthew Vogrich yesterday, the president of Molo Solutions in Chicago, and he said, yeah, we paid our dues last year, and now we're getting rewarded for it. So their volumes are actually going up.
Interesting.
But for some brokerages who don't have a lot of contract customers, who are more heavily exposed to spot, when that volume dries up, they really have to having to search for freight. I talked to one broker last night who said it sucks out there right now. He's having to make a lot of cold calls just to find freight to move.
We've been talking a little bit about this week about how it may 2019 may be a difficult year for carriers. But you're saying it's a challenging market out there for brokers as well, right?
What a lot of people have said was that 2018 with the capacity crunch made it a really spot intensive freight market in 2018. All the action was in spot. This year, brokers are telling me that they think that the majority of the freight will be moved on a contract basis. And a lot of those guys, made an adjustment. They try to take care of their customers. They're bidding aggressively on contract freight, the past month or so. But brokers that haven't made the adjustment, brokers that are still living in the spot market, are going to have a tough time maintaining revenue growth.
Are these brokers, JP, are they saying anything about some of the current just headwinds that I know are talking about a lot, but maybe this is a little bit of an aberration with, we've got 35 days of government shutdown. We are right in the middle of a trade war heading into March where some of these things may come into play. Are they talking anything about what is the why of why are we seeing the degradation?
Honestly, it's for us, where we covered 2018 really heavily, it feels weird to us because January and February of 2018 were so unusually strong. Well, this is more of a return to normalcy. I mean, a typical freight market year bottoms out in kind of the 3rd week, 4th week of January. So this is, even the guys who are saying that things are slow for them, they're not super worried. They think that things will start picking back up, end of February, leading into the produce season for Southern California and Florida. So, this is kind of a return to a normal feeling freight market, as long as, we expect in a month for things to kind of start spinning back up. I know traditionally January and sometimes even February are times where carriers can kind of take their lumps. They try to ride it out. Right.
I don't, it looks like every year's different. We talked about that, but maybe, so far looking at, some normalcy actually in the slightly lower volumes. Whether it's to our surprise or not. Wow, thank you very much for bringing those lanes in, talking about volumes, wrapping up our week. John Paul Hampstead here visiting with us. And we are bringing you the news live, right now, what is happening every single business day at 4 o'clock, and we're winding it up. Happy Friday, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Check us out on FreightWaves.com and on our Twitter, through our Twitter, we're at FreightWaves. Please friend us. We like to have friends. We like to spread the good word of what is happening right now each and every day. So you all stay safe out there over this cold and chilly weekend, and we will see you top of the week on Monday. And in the meantime, don't worry, be happy.